Oh, wait, hold on. We're in. Oh, now we're live. Okay.
Now it says live.
Okay, now it's live. Alrighty.
Perfect.
Well, I guess perfect. Let's say a quick little welcome to our potential viewers / listeners, and then we will talk amongst ourselves as we were just doing and figure out why we don't know what we're doing. Okay, so I'm April. If y'all want to introduce yourselves.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Jackie.
And for anyone who is not one of us three, we are hosting the How to Be Cheeky Visual podcast today. We are actually a little bit early for our normal streaming time. We normally stream live every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, we decided to get a little jump start on it today because we basically have like a creative sort of planning and ideation session planned. And we got shit to do. So here we are. Problem number one before we like really get started is that y'all may have noticed that G is not here, and G is normally the person who is hosting this, and we don't know how to share this with the audience. So we know that we're live, we just don't know how to share the link. So I would say let's take 1 minute each and see if we can figure out how to share this link, and then we'll go from there. Did we just lose Aaron?
He's going to try to figure out how to share the link.
Okay, sweet.
No, I mean, I'm just kidding.
Just kidding.
Oh yeah.
What happened to you?
I thought I was gonna. I clicked a button to see if maybe that would copy a link, and it closed.
Didn't do it.
So.
Didn't do it. Okay. Alrighty. Classic. Okay, cool. So if anyone happens to be watching this right now and knows the answer, please let us know in the comment section. Otherwise, we're going to do a quick little Google search. Give us 1 minute.
Yes.
I wonder if it just goes to YouTube. I mean, I know it goes to YouTube. I wonder if she's just been sharing out the YouTube live link.
Is this a YouTube live stream when you made it, April?
I don't see where it is. Again, we're going to spend a total of 30 seconds on this, and then we'll just move on.
Yeah, I mean, I clicked the little help icon in the corner and searched for it.
And sorry, you didn't find the answer?
It says, on our scheduled broadcast, click the 3 dots next to the upcoming live stream, and then click view on YouTube. I think this is something you can do if you're logged in. I'm not logged in, however, to
YouTube? Oh, to StreamYard.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, you know what? We're just not going to worry about this right now. We're going to proceed as usual. And then if it doesn't show up live, then we will just share the recorded one after the fact on YouTube. So let's just proceed. Good. Let's just disregard that. Okay, cool. So bringing this meeting to order, gavel. All right. What we are here to do today, as you guys know, and this is is it our third session or a second session workshopping this?
It's our third, yeah.
Okay, cool. So again, for anyone watching, what we are doing today is we've inbox cards for all of our cheeky products. So every time we ship a package direct to consumer, we put in these little inbox cards. And I actually, Jackie, do you have any with you that you can just hold up and show for reference?
Yeah, I can grab one.
If you don't mind, that'd be great.
Yeah, just 1 second.
Cool. So just a little word of explanation again for our watchers or listeners. We have wanted to revamp these for quite a while. Basically, we're trying to teach people with absolutely zero experience and potentially zero knowledge of how to make cocktails, everything they need to know to make great cocktails using our mixers just by looking at these little cards. And so a couple of months ago, we had kind of come together as a team and said, listen, we don't think that this is doing the job as much as we'd like to. and we want to revamp this. So right now, this is again the third session in which we are trying to pull together a thought process, artwork, creative, to best communicate how to make a range of classic and contemporary classic cocktails, and a little bit about the brand as well. And so we're going to do share screen and show you guys about like some of our process. But again, this is like full on behind the scenes, real, unedited. This is a mess right now, but the thought is there, and we just have to start moving through this. So Jackie, do you want to hold up what we have right now?
Yeah, so we currently have 2 inbox cards. One is just a kind of introduction to the brand card. And then the second card is a sample recipe card. And then kind of a primer on how to use Cheeky in your home, whether it's for making individual cocktails or batching. And yeah, something else we're looking to do, and some feedback we've gotten from customers, is that they basically just like additional sample cocktail recipes. Maybe a few more than the 5 we have like currently listed on the sample recipe card you can see here.
Right.
So that's kind of what we're working on as well.
Yep. Sorry to interrupt. Is anyone else having a hard time hearing Jackie? Again, I'm having okay. Just double checking. I just want to make sure this is not inaudible. Okay, so that's what we have to start off with. Let's screen share again. The thing I'm going to show you, I just want to put an additional disclaimer on it, is really, this is where we left off in our last conversation. This is the absolute draftiest of drafts. And so this is really just our kind of like workspace for today. And we're going to try to make something that looks cohesive in it. So I'll just do my best to screen share here. Hold on. Let me just make sure there's nothing else over here. Okay, now that's good. Stand by. Good old Zoom perpetually open in the background. Okay. All right. Okay. I think we good. Oh, now I see what's going on here. This is why it's saying what it's saying. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's why it's saying what it's saying. If I do that, can you guys just see my illustrator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Basically, this means that I cannot see you or myself for that matter. So scream if anything important happens.
Okay. Will do.
Okay, so great. So again, for the benefit of our listeners, this is where we left off last week. Basically, I'm going to try to minimize this a little bit. So we decided we wanted to design this eight-piece booklet, so 8-page booklet. The first is kind of just a welcome. It's got our logo, some sort of messaging about the brand. The second page we were thinking, and again, this is all super messy, but we were thinking something along the lines of color blocking that it resembles the labels on the bottles or pulls the colors from there. So this placeholder. Third, something talking about the critical elements to great cocktails, including great ingredients, proper ratios, great technique. And then how to make a single serve and how to make a group serve with the ratios 2-1-1, 2 spirit, 1 citrus, 1 sweet. These 2 pages will be the biggest part of what we're going to discuss today, which is this beginning design over here. And then the balance of the pages, founder story, referral QR code, or some other way to find us. And then we had put some preliminary brand messaging, kind of about Cheeky being a vibe and other fun stuff, on the back of one of our bottles as a sort of tester. And some of that language we're going to extract and put down here. But our focus, as I mentioned, is really this today. So, Aaron, do you actually want to take this portion and just explain what we're doing here, and then we can pull up the document that you sent over?
Totally. So we're making sort of a graphic web of cocktails that are I guess the home point is the spirit that you use. I think that's a good place normally for people, I think people have a preferred spirit. And then sort of the web of cocktails that you can make with that spirit, and then little pie charts of the ratios that you would put into those of syrups and juices and spirit.
Great. Cool. So basically where we left off last week was Aaron was going to throw together a bunch of these different little pie charts to represent different cocktails that we've discussed. Obviously, there's thousands of cocktails that one can make using our basic syrups and juices. And so we really need to be decisive about what we want to display here and the criteria that we use to select those cocktails, and also about how we display this, because per our conversation, we've got 11 inches side to side because there's a centerfold, and then only 4.5 inches top to bottom. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this could be super crowded. And this is one thing I also wanted to talk amongst ourselves about, is like, if we want to scale this up, Jackie and I talked a little bit about this yesterday, but like, are the dimensions the appropriate way to display something of this complexity?
Yeah.
So why don't we do this? Let's, Aaron, let me turn this over to you.
Sure.
And then if you want to pull yours up,
Yeah.
that's probably the next best thing.
Sure. Sorry, I have to.
No, it's okay. Am I frozen?
Yes.
Great. Great.
You'll come back, I'm sure.
Yeah. I have to quit and reopen to allow screen sharing, but I will be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Jackie, can you see me at all?
No, I can't. It's just a
Oh.
black screen.
Oh no.
You got it to work before.
Yeah,
sure
well,
it's good.
the irony of this though is obviously that I was the person who was supposed to be the black screen in the Zoom in the Zoom video.
Oh my
So
gosh, yeah.
stand by. Stand by. Let's see if this works. Oh no. Feel free to talk, by the way, Jackie, if you'd like.
Well, I hope everyone's having a great day. We just got a really nice little breeze in here after a very humid morning/afternoon.
That makes one of us. That makes one of us. I'm over here, as you know, in the in the other room, and it's like sweaty AF in here. Can you see me now, by the way?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. And Aaron's been in the waiting room. Sorry about that, Aaron. Hello.
Perfect.
Hey, no problem.
Cool. All right, welcome back.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, I am sharing. Do you see?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
There we go.
Cool.
Okay, make this full screen. So I found our labels on our drive.
Yep.
Okay.
To steal colors. I also found a way to make pie charts that are like pre-made, and you can
Oh my
edit
God,
them,
Aaron.
which is super helpful because it made this a lot easier.
Yeah. And sorry, this was in Illustrator?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called the pie chart tool. And then
Aaron, I think these look, just right off the bat, I think these look great. I just want to say, with a little illustration of the drink inside the chart as well.
Thanks.
Looks very balanced to me.
I know we wanted super simple ones, so I just like made some very easy ones. We can look for ones made by a full out graphic designer as well. But I just wanted something in there to sort of represent it. But just to show how to use the pie chart, so you put in the amounts, so say 211, and then hit enter, and it just makes this little chart.
Wow.
Super easy. And then you can like I made this like sort of tealy blue, the color for vodka. So if I grab that color and then just drop it into, oh no, put these, pull this up front. If I drop this into here, it changes that to the vodka color. And
question, just fundamental question about the shapes. Are they then their own, like, is that, for example, with the vodka gimlet, is that then 3 objects? Or is that?
We could make them 3 objects by just ungrouping them or splitting them. I have to look into how to do that exactly, or like turning it into an object that's not a graph. But yeah, and then the stroke, I made this like the cheeky purple color.
Okay, got it. Okay. I think so they look good. I think I've got some questions, sort of comments. The first of which is, I think, well, this is like, seems like a minor detail, but I don't think it actually is. With the spirits, I think we need to rotate them again, so the spirit is on top, and then the mixers are on the bottom, just in terms of like the way people visually process.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of more how you think of it. So do you mind just doing it to one of them, just again, so presumably it's just rotate 90 degrees.
Yeah. Let's see if it'll. I thought about that as well in like a few ways. This is the way that if I did it 2-1-1, like this is the way that the computer sort of automatically did it. So I did consider like, does it start at like the top and then go around clockwise, or does it start at like the 9 o'clock and go around?
Yeah. I think if I'm reading left to right, so if it's in the case of the vodka gimlet, if I'm reading left to right, I would expect in this particular case it to be like vodka, simple on the left and lime on the right.
Yeah, totally. I wasn't sure what we would think, but I agree. I think that this makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So then the next thought, and this is just bouncing this is off of you guys, but I know we've talked about the cocktail images in the center. For our audience, the reason these are going to be here is so anyone reading this will know that these are supposed to be symbolic of the glass that you put the cocktail into. Makes a lot of sense. And we're going to have a key separately on the side saying whatever. Like, this is what these glasses mean. This is like the instruction, like shake this thing, muddle this thing, whatever. So we'll have more explicit information off to the side. So my question for you guys is, I think we need a really simple symbol for the glasses in the center. So what if it's like basically what's the word, like inverted space, like negative space rather, like blocky negative space, like white martini glass, you know what I'm saying, like white martini glass, or like tan martini glass or something like that.
Another option of that just came to mind for me is the possibility that we have a little circle in the middle of the circle with the little glasses in it, and obviously we'll have to make sure that wouldn't be too small to see or anything. But
no, I had thought about that as well, and I think that I think that that's possible. The way I played it out in my head, though, the circle might clutter the overall visual language of it. And of course, like these, we can see these are like super outlined, very sort of delicate images. I think we really need to go blocky. So for example, with like the double rocks glass, it's like whether it's vertical sides. Hold on, I actually have some glasses right next to me, but one sec. See if I can do this without like knocking my computer and all this other crap off. Hold on.
I don't know if I can see you guys. Oh yeah, if I do it.
Very meta.
Yeah. We do also have versions without the spirit. I wasn't totally sure like what we had landed on. I think we were going back and forth a little bit. These are those.
So these are the glasses that these are not actually, can't get them in screen here, but whether the glass be like this where it's like tiered, or whether it's something like this where it's just straight sided, or whether it's like a slightly more V-shaped double rocks, I think we need to have like, again, pretty much an abstraction where the whole thing is like single color, or else it's going to get really crowded really quick.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like the fill is one color.
Exactly. And I can do some mock-ups of this as well. Okay, cool. So Aaron, did you stop sharing?
I did, because I wanted to see what you were doing.
Oh, I was off rummaging rummaging in the bar cart, as it were. Totally. Okay, cool. So that's thing one. So sorry, continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, I was just gonna say, while you were away, we have also versions without the spirit, I think it does make it a little simpler, but I do like that you can almost immediately see, like, this whole page is gin cocktails, this whole page is vodka cocktails.
Sorry, can you pull up whatever you're referencing?
Yeah, so this page right here, can you see these guys? No,
it's not sharing right now.
Oh, weird.
Aaron's like, yeah, these guys.
Yeah, I'm like, share screen, share. Is that showing? No? Okay.
I can just do other show and tell while you're busy.
Yeah.
Like, so this is
show
my water
glassware.
bottle.
Yeah. Screen share your entire screen. Oh, let's try just this. You can't see this?
Oh, sorry. This was my fault. That was entirely my fault. Sorry.
I was like,
that was because you kept trying to share, and I apparently had the permissions, and I was just ignoring it. Sorry. Okay, sorry.
All right, we got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now it's just sharing actually just Illustrator, so this makes it much easier for me because I can see you guys also. So this page is just vodka cocktails. And I think what's nice about having the spirit included is that you can sort of see that from very far away. Like these are all gin because the purple is gin for me. So, and then there is the option of not including the spirit, which might help also because then we can have gin and vodka both like coming to the gimlet or the French 75/76.
I feel like that's going to be way more difficult for people to understand.
Yeah.
What I think we need to do is I think we need to designate, like, I don't love the color of the spirit. So if you kind of mouse left or whatever, I don't love the color designation because, again, I think inherently people have associations with the color. And for example, I think it would make sense if like the clear spirits or unaged spirits were like the same color. And then the aged like whiskeys or dark rums or whatever were dark color, that would make sense. But I also feel like if we could choose unique patterns for each of them, that could be really cool. And again, maybe it could be something cool where it's like, I'm just ideating here, but like, what if it's something cool where it's like a repeating pattern of
April,
like,
I was just thinking that's so funny.
But of like grains, for example. So like with whiskey, and of course this is like overly reductionist, but with whiskey, perhaps it's like corn or like barley or something like that. And then for, again, this gets us into trouble where it's like, okay, with vodka it can be any raw material, but maybe there's something there where it alludes to the ingredients.
Yeah.
In terms of like repeating pattern, actually, what I think could possibly look really cool is if we did a repeating pattern of the name of the spirit. So it was just like gin, but like the whole thing filled up with like the word gin. And that would also kind of save us from having to have a key and give us a little extra, like, I'm just trying to think, how can we minimize this as much as possible and make it as clear as possible?
Yep.
So that would kind of serve two purposes if we wanted to do it that way.
Okay, cool. I think it's a good idea. I think what we probably are going to just need to do is, as we lay this out, because we know that that's the next step after this, is after we lay this out and see how much information is on there, then we've got to try out the different variations of these like repeating pattern ideas and see which one sticks and which looks the best. So Okay, cool. The next comment that I wanted to make is regarding the bubble situation. I think,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys tell me if you feel differently, but I really think, in addition to, again, changing the orientation, so it has the spirit on the top and then the mixers on the bottom, I
Mm-hmm.
do think that we need to have the bubble showing as the top slice, not as a segment within, if that makes sense. Do you guys know what I mean?
Like, oh, because you're topping the drink itself. So like
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
top of the drink. Yeah.
Yeah. I just
Okay.
feel like the average consumer, I mean, even myself looking at this, if I looked at that after scanning a bunch of things and I was kind of in a rush, I wouldn't process like that's supposed to be on top. I would
Yeah.
just assume it's like incorporated during the normal process of making the cocktails. For anyone who doesn't know how to make cocktails with sparkling anything, do not shake it. So if you're going to be shaking all the ingredients of a French 75, you want to shake everything except for the champagne or sparkling wine, because otherwise it's going to explode, lose the bubbles, all that stuff. So what you want to do is mix the gin, the lemon, and the simple with ice in a shaker, shake 10 to 15 seconds, strain it into your champagne flute, and then top it with the sparkling. So that's kind of what we're trying to get across here, is like, how do we make it super clear, even if somebody just takes a quick glance, that that's the process?
I've been thinking about this too since we discussed it last time, and actually I think whether we do this kind of pie chart look or if we do that larger like spider web kind of look, I think it actually might be best communicated by drawing like a little additional line and having a separate circle with just bubbles in it. Just because I think that it's just kind of hard for me as the resident non-bartender. I think I would just assume it all goes in together if I'm just glancing at it and it's all in the same circle, versus if it was a separate element. And also because it's topped with champagne, there's not necessarily like a ratio amount that would be like correct or incorrect.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
having like it as an outside thing might be a good option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in that case then, and this is, again, this will make sense to people who know these cocktails inside and out, but maybe not to those who don't. So question, I think primarily for Aaron, or actually it's for both of you, but does that mean, so if you're making a cocktail like we described with a French 75, the gin and lemon and simple portion of it, which otherwise would represent the entirety of the drink, meaning like a relatively large drink, it's going to be a little bit less, going to be a little bit smaller of a quantity, because you're then going to lengthen it out with the champagne. So does that mean then, Aaron, do you think that the ones where we're topping it with champagne, the circle, the pie chart, should be a little bit smaller than all the ones that are like the full size, like a daiquiri or a gimlet or a blah, blah, blah?
Yeah. I think I could see this being like this circle being half the size, and then having maybe like a plus and then a little like bottle of Prosecco or champagne or whatever, but like a very like graphic-y bottle that sort of like denotes top with champagne. And I think that like that could take up the full size of one of these altogether, but they could just sit together next to each other.
Okay. So I think we're going to need, again, I think that the symbol of champagne or whatever, sparkling water or whatever that sparkling element is, I think we're going to need to figure out what that symbol is. But I think it's probably just going to be easiest once we lay everything else out to figure out like what looks like it belongs and doesn't look like totally doesn't make sense here.
Yeah. I mean, it could also just be a little circle around the same size.
You mean,
that
sorry,
has bubbles in it, like a fully separate circle that just has little bubbles in it that's next to this.
Yeah. But again, I think the question is going to be clutter.
Mm-hmm.
It's with 20 cocktails or whatever. How many, by the way, do you have on here?
I think a few of them are doubles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Can we look at what they are real quick? I just want to make sure that we're getting kind of like covering our bases.
Yeah, totally. So for vodkas, we have the Cosmo, Moscow Mule, Lemon Drop, and French 76. For gin, we have Bee's Knees, Gin Gimlet, French 75, Tom Collins, and Southside. and then there's a penicillin and a margarita. But we do have, I've been going through the cheeky book that we have, and
Right.
I'm just pulling from that.
And sorry, but so they're not complete. Like this is not the full suite of.
No, it will.
Okay.
It'll probably be around this many circles. They'll probably have to be a little smaller, but this is probably how many circles it'll be, because I think that
Go ahead.
just
Sorry.
with the doubles that we have, it'll probably account for the like 4 or 5 rum cocktails and the 4 or 5 whiskey cocktails.
But hold on, sorry. What for whiskey? The only ones that we have here are penicillin and whiskey sour somewhere.
Whiskey sour is not somewhere,
Okay.
but there are doubles of across these like 4 pages. We have probably 20.
Okay, right. So that was what I was trying to get at. Is like I'm thinking that we'll probably be doing at like around 20. Seems like the right balance between like introductory and like overwhelming. It seems like it could, for those who want like just a brief primer, they can find something, and if they want something more robust, they can find that. So, okay. Now stepping outside of this a little bit, the next question I want to ask you guys, which I'd alluded to earlier and Jackie and I'd spoken about a little bit more in depth yesterday, is I am no longer convinced, because of the complexity of what we're trying to put into this booklet, I'm no longer convinced that this is the right format. So something that I'd like to propose is, what if, and let me just see, I have a random piece of paper here somewhere. I'm just going to try to fold this on the fly. You know how when you get like a map, there's, again, it can be like arranged like a booklet, but once you open it up, it has, obviously can have a single image on one side. Meaning that like the outside of it, for example, like if this is what they get, for example, it's just one piece of paper. And again, you can have like whatever on the front side, whatever on the back side. And in theory, you can open it up so you have like a couple of other pages at your disposal. But then when you open it up in entirety, you can have like the full, like a single image displayed on one side.
Yeah.
So that is, I'm thinking that might be a better move for us. And we're just going to have to see how you'd fold this up. But I just am really feeling like we might need more like an 11 by 17 or something if we really want this to be useful for people, because I just feel like with a maximum height of 4.5 inches, like 4 things are going to fit on there.
Yeah. I also think like if it is, small poster size, it might be like interesting enough to hang,
Exactly.
Like ideally, we're making something that's like graphic and interesting and that you'd want to hold on to.
Exactly. I do think, I mean, even speaking to our landlord actually the other day, I had said, oh, we'd love your feedback. Like we're in the process of changing the cards over. So if this doesn't feel robust enough, like we'd love feedback, and we're making this into something more, again, more robust. And he was like, oh, well, he's like, I actually have a lot of cocktail books at home, and I like the cards because I just can stick them into the cocktail book and like reference them when I want to. So his point, he was kind of like, I don't really want a booklet because like, that's just not how I use it. And I do think like the notion of having like one piece of paper that you can hang, or you could throw away if you want to, or you can file it in a drawer without feeling like it's like too much, feels compelling. But the other reason that I say that is, and I haven't like mapped this out, and maybe, hold on, I got a pen here somewhere. I just feel like this will be easier to explain if there's like some marking on on this paper instead. Okay, we're not going to have that. Sorry. But if for example, let's just say that this is page 1 here, so we can have like again the welcome, or the like, you look extra cheeky today, or whatever we have, and then once you open it up to here, for example, it could have like simple cocktails, and it could just have a few, like whatever, Moscow Mule, basically some element from the more robust full map. And it'll like designate, but again, it'll have to be logical the way you would open it for this to even work. meaning that we would be able to extract just a few of the cocktails for somebody who's just wanting the super intro. And then if they want the much more robust one against once they open the whole thing up, then it's all laid out in its like complex wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying? This is really hard to explain with nothing on this paper.
It reminds me of those like plane cards that you would make for friends when they were going on plane trips before cell phones.
I was
like,
not that
okay. I mean, they weren't that involved, but like, you know, it would be like you fold it down and then like one page has like one puzzle and then you open it and then there's like a little letter to you and then like another and it's like another puzzle. And,
is this at all? Because this is what I was thinking of. Is like, did you guys make these where it's like you have like your 4 fingers in the paper thing and you go whoop 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 whoop?
What's that called?
Little
I don't know.
Tellers, cootie catchers,
like that.
Teller. Yes. Oh my gosh.
But I do feel like this could be like this. Again, we just have to make sure it's not overwhelming and frustrating, and that it's logical. Again, which way you open it. If we're gonna mess around with that. But are you guys generally on board with this, like no longer being in the shape of a booklet?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on board with that. I know something we've kind of discussed in the past that I'd maybe like to resurface is kind of doing individual cards, either by like cocktail or spirit or syrup and juice pairing. I think that could be, I mean, obviously we'd have to figure out the logistics of it, but I think that could be like a really impactful solution if we want to give the consumer kind of the most clear-cut, immediate answer to their question of what do I make with this? And I think oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, in terms of like, I think the complexity of like figuring out a folding thing would be probably similar to figuring out how to do individual cards. So
I know what you're saying. I would feel comfortable making that as a digital asset. I do not want to make that as a physical printed asset because we did that before with Swig and Swallow, and even just us remembering which one goes in where is messy. So for example, if you're like, oh, like somebody ordered the whiskey sour cocktail kit on our site versus the Tom Collins, it's the same damn thing, right? And who knows if they actually are ordering it for the whiskey sour or the Tom Collins in terms of the mixer, by the way. So for people who don't know about cocktails, a whiskey sour is with whiskey, lemon, and simple. A Tom Collins is going to be gin, lemon, simple, and then you would add soda, club soda or seltzer. So there's just a lot of complexity, and plus the cost. Let's just say we're very successful in our aspirations for growth, and let's just say we're outsourcing some element of fulfillment to a 3PL, to a third-party logistics company. The complexity of maintaining a gabillion individual cocktail cards is just way more than I want to deal with. So I don't think we can do that as a printed asset, but we can do it as a digital one if we want to, if we feel like there's a need for it.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, was there just to before we kind of move on from that, was there a particular use case or need state that you saw for that where it's like there's been feedback that you've heard where people are like, oh, I just want to make this one thing?
I think that, people have just, I know the last conversation we had, we discussed whether people are coming at these with the idea of a certain cocktail in their head, or they want to know all the combinations of cocktails they can make using a syrup and a juice, or if they're coming from, I have the spirit, I want to make a bunch of different drinks using just one spirit alone. I think the feedback that I've gotten from customers here and there is that they're looking for additional recipes they can make using the specific syrup and juice pairing that they purchased. So where it's less about the spirit and more about the options that that kit they've bought affords them, whether it's a 2-bottle kit or a 4-bottle kit.
Yep.
Things like that. So I guess I'm just kind of thinking of solutions coming from that angle, where maybe someone does have like a stocked home bar and they do have a bunch of different spirits.
Well, we could easily do this where it's like a book has a table of contents, and then the appendices, or is that what it's called? Is that what that's called? In the back where it's
glossary?
Yeah, I was like, is it a glossary? I'm like, oh my God, it's been like a million years since I've needed this word. Okay, but I guess my point is that we could have the table of contents arranged by by spirit. We can have the visual display as we've discussed, where it shows a visual map. So for those who are looking for sort of quick reference, arranged as we've discussed. And then we could have the glossary where it's like arranged by cocktail name in alphabetical order.
Mm-hmm.
Or shit, sorry,
Okay.
that still omits the thing that you were talking about, which is like, sorry.
Well,
what if the table of contents was arranged by, this gets really complex. I was going to say, what if that was arranged by Mixer?
Well, I think having the visual elements like in that kind of spiderweb graph that we had, if anyone knows the actual technical name for that kind of graph, let me know.
Infographic. Well, it's an infographic, but I don't know what kind. Yeah.
So I think it would be kind of impactful to, like we were discussing, have the colors more correspond with the syrups and juices, and then have like a centralized like circle for each spirit, let's say. That way, like whether someone wants to do it by spirit, like create a cocktail by spirit, or someone wants to like immediately be able to see like, okay, these are the syrups and juices I have. Those colors correspond to these circles, so I can pick out those cocktails easily. I think having both those elements is very useful, I would say.
Well,
if that makes sense.
So the spirit part makes sense for sure. If you guys remember from the sample infographic I showed you the other day, you remember how the lines were color coded?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how it was like a section was blue and a section was pink and green and whatever? I wonder if there's something where it's like split up. So like the left half is lime, like cocktails with lime juice, and the right half is cocktails with lemon. And then there's some sort of progression where it's like we cluster all of the cocktails with cranberry. And again, those are all outlined in pink. And the ones with simple are all outlined. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I actually, the way that we like currently had it, I thought was a pretty good visual representation, but I also like the idea. It would be, the issue with splitting it up by lemon and lime is that you would have to have multiple circles that say vodka, probably. Like some on the lemon side, some on the lime side. Or you're saying
no? It's just the linkage is those lines.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me do this. Let's do this, because again, I know that we're already over time, as we always are. But why don't we do this? Let me take a stab at laying some of this out, assuming it's going to be like an 11 by 17 versus like this tiny ass little long piece of centerfold thing that we're going to do. And let me take a stab at laying that out, and then let's see what it looks like. And then I think based on that, we'll be just like, oh my God, there's way too much information, or there is a way to make sense of this. And ultimately, we might ultimately end up with, again, one big page, and then we might have to have a tiny little book that's additional to that. Or perhaps one of these turns into like a more robust version of like the Cheeky Cocktail book.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
I think, I think that sounds good.
Cool. Anything else to add?
I think it'll be good to review once we have more visuals in front of us, and then I think that'll be a good place to start working on maybe simplifying it from there.
Yeah.
If necessary.
Yeah. Okay. Could we have any less energy in this meeting, by the way?
It's so humid in here.
I thought, didn't you say there was a nice cool breeze?
It happened for 1 second and then it went away.
Not buying that shit, Jackie.
Took my energy with it, unfortunately. But I'm looking forward to this. I think this is a solution that our customers are really looking for and we want to provide. So I'm looking forward to being able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's been, it's kind of interesting because everyone's like, you know, you imagine everyone is coming at this from a different place. Like some people want to see the final cocktail, like they only want one cocktail. Like their cocktail is the Moscow Mule and that is it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are like, just vodka, whatever I can do with vodka, I'll do it. And
It's
some people
true.
are like, I want to know everything.
Yeah.
Or some people are like, I have a whole kit, like what can I do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the fun intellectual aspect of this exercise is really how do you, in like a minute or less, at least pacify, if not satisfy, all these people. And I find that to be quite like I feel like it's a really interesting challenge.
Agreed.
Yeah. I think the answer is pretty clear. Like the 2-on-1 ratio idea really does sort of tell the whole thing. It's like then getting people to like, once you get people to that sentence and it makes sense of like the ratio is 2 parts of your spirit, 1 part of juice, 1 part of syrup. If you can get them there, they're like, you know, possibilities are endless. But then we have this sort of like built culture of like a Moscow Mule or a specifically named cocktails. And that's where you have to get like very detailed and give them a lot more information to be like, well, this is what's in your cup. But really, if you just like really simplify it, it's 2-1-1. And that is really as much as you need to know.
Yeah.
But that comes with a lot of questions.
Yeah. As a sidebar, and again, this is obviously a conversation for later. And I know we've been like a little bit noodling on this idea in the first place, but I think that we need to create, I know we've talked about the phone call number thing with the 211, but I think we need to create a bartender hotline where it's like call 211, but like legitimately have bartenders manning the hotline to like answer any question. Even if it's
amazing.
Yeah, even if it's only open like once a week.
Aaron,
for
do you
like
have the time for that?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so my phone number is 951.
No, but it would be really fun to have like a bunch of our bartender friends, like almost like guest bartending, like manning the hotline for like 4 hours or something, or like maybe 2 hours, whatever. I think it'd be awesome.
I actually feel like I might have seen that before. That kind of idea.
Well, yeah, that kind of idea for sure. I mean,
like, but they actually have a hotline, like actually call this number for these solutions.
Yeah.
One of my favorite accounts, Disco Cubes, she has this lighter that comes with her book. Like when you buy the book with like the ice pack and the like kit, and the lighter on it has a number on the back. And if you call the number, it's like, welcome to Disco Cubes. How are you feeling today? Hot and spicy or cool and refreshing? And then you like hit it and it'll play you like a disco song based on your selection.
Oh
really
my
fun.
God, that's so
amazing.
fun.
That's so cute.
I'm like, we could also, whenever there's not a bartender there, 1 through 9 is a different cocktail and it'll tell you like 3 sentences on like how to make it, what it's from.
Oh,
my God.
Cute. I love it.
I love that idea.
Yeah. So have you guys heard, this is, have you guys heard the BuzzFeed story? Like the founder, Jonah Peretti?
Oh, no. It's like, there are a lot of BuzzFeed stories.
Well, no. So he co-founded Huffington Post and he also founded BuzzFeed, but apparently he was like a high school teacher and somehow through a few funny sort of moments, ended up becoming this like viral meme sensation. So the first was this is apparently like in the early ages of email where like you forwarded news to like other people and it could gather momentum that way. So anyway, so he did this something about like Nike and sweatshops where he like, they had like a custom embroidery function where you could embroider anything on the shoes. And long story short, and I'm not going to do this justice, you should listen to the how I built this episode on him. But he apparently was just like, he input that he wanted sweatshop like embroidered on his shoes, and they were like, this does not fall within the guidelines of what you could. So anyway, so that went viral. He did multiple other things, and one of them was the it was like the dating hotline or something, where he and his sister, who she's apparently a comedian, and some of her comedian friends recorded these different answering machine messages. And so it was a fake number that you could give out to anybody who you didn't want to actually have your number, but you wanted to get them off your back. And so you'd call. Yeah. Okay. So this, again, I took a really long time getting there with the story, but it would basically be like, this person does not want you to have their phone number. They gave you this fake phone number, so you would, stop bothering them. Like, if you want to hear a sad song, like with a little mini violin play, like, it's really funny.
Well, do you know what the phone number was?
No, I forget.
It was asshole.
Oh.
Oh my God. How do you remember that?
Well, that's pretty memorable.
I mean, when you remember that story, it's like, well, that's the thing. That's marketing, folks.
That's totally.
I mean,
so let's noodle on this one more. But again, I'm sure we could get a Google number or like a Skype number or something where there's like 211 associated with it. But we've got to figure out how we could. Maybe it's even like a text function, like with Community or one of those guys. So Jackie, you're going to be in charge of figuring out if this is possible. And then we'll collectively figure out how we will get people to man it. But because I really think that, like, even if it's just like our awesome badass bartender friends manning it for like an hour, like 2 people manning it and people calling in and answering questions once a week, I think would be hilarious.
Yeah.
I
already get texts asking.
There you go.
So
yeah.
Now I'm thinking, like, there's definitely some kind of software that gives you the functionality via text to say, like, thanks for signing up for Cheeky Cocktails text messages. Like, press 1 if you want to make a vodka cocktail, press 2 if you want to make a gin cocktail. And then it spits out like a specific range of cocktails. And then it's like, for a Moscow Mule recipe, press 1. For a gimlet recipe, press 2. And then like actually spits back out the actual recipe for those. Like, I'm sure there's software that can set that up for us.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I feel like, and again, this is my final sort of thought on it. If there's any way we can get the association to be 211, there's just something about the, like, I'm calling 911 kind of vibe that's just really funny. It's like emergency style. Like, I've got to call 211 for my cocktail, like fireman or whatever,
But also, like, is 211 not taken? Like what is it? It's like 311 exists, 411 exists.
No, I know. And that is what I was thinking. I'm like, I wonder if this is like an important service.
that
we should not be blowing
about.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. All right. So that's our jobs for this coming. Let's just recap. Jackie's going to figure out how we can get 211, or if it exists and is taken by something else way more important than us.
Oh my God. If we can actually get 211, that would be unreal.
I don't think it's possible, but we'll figure out a way to incorporate it. I'm going to take a stab at doing the next layout of just like, does this stuff fit? Incorporating some of Erin's pie charts here, or graphs, or whatever they are. And then Erin, do you have a next task?
No, but I have some adjustments to what these are, and I was going to keep banging out some more cocktails and try a version with like vodka written in instead of color. Like all the things that we talked about.
Okay, so if you want to do then the remainder of the cocktails that we're missing, that would be awesome. If you can take a stab at the repeating patterns, to your point, whether it be the printed language, or again, if you want to take like whatever, a drawing of rye or something, and or like barley or something, and try to make that into one. Let's just see what one looks like. And then anything else specialty, for example, like if there's like 1 or 2 treatments of how you think that the bubbles could show up adjacent to the original circle, that would be great. And as soon as you can get any of that stuff over to me, that would be great as well, so I can plug it in to the layout. Okay. Awesome. Hooray. Thank you guys. I feel like this was super productive and I think we're in a
Yeah.
really good place.
Agreed. Thank you
Amazing.
both.
Okay. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.